You all right? My name's Paul. I've got autism and I make random videos based on my version of autism. Stick them on YouTube just in case anyone wants to watch them. Um, this is the request bit of the channel. And, I've kind of kept up or tried to do a series of tests because I get a lot of emails asking if I will do tests. So this is another one of them from the usual site what I use, which is clinical-partners.co.uk. I've got no affiliation with them whatsoever, but the website is really simple to use and you don't have to create an account to do the tests, which is why I do them on here. So one of them that gets asked to do often in emails is a depression test, which obviously the idea of it isn't very uplifting in the first instance. But obviously, there's a lot of low mood linked into autism. So I just thought I would do the test because it's been asked for. So if you do have a topic that you want me to cover at any point, I'll stick it in a folder and I will get round to them at some point. It's just got to be humanly possible with at this attempt at life I'm trying to do at the same time. But the email address is oldandautistic@gmail.com. And then just put in there why you want me to do it. Maybe put an example just so it makes sense to me. That'd really help me. I'd appreciate that. So I've got the questions to one side. I've not looked at them because that's cheating. So what I'll do is there are 21 questions. I will read the question and I'll try and give you an example of why I've answered how I have. And then, you do it as well. Let me know your scores. See if we're score buddies or not. All right, so stick the bin lids on, and here we go. I'm blind as a bat without these. So, question one. I feel overwhelmingly sad at times. Yeah, we all do. Surely we do. There's no one knocking about. Just, big cheesy Charlie over there, 24 hours a day. That doesn't happen. Um, But yeah, I get sad, overwhelmingly sad when I think of my best mate who passed away. Um, because it doesn't make any sense to me. Like there's people out there who go, "Oh, everything happens for a reason, and God's got a plan." No, he hasn't. Why would you take a 32-year-old who didn't have a bad bone in his body and didn't deserve to go? It'll never make sense to me. So I get overwhelmed. I get sad when it's around his birthday. I get sad when it's around the time. Um, of when he passed away. I get sad when it comes time for WrestleMania because we used to watch some wrestling pay-per-views together, and he never got to see AEW, which is a better form of wrestling because WWE is rubbish these days. And when you're a big kid like I am, you still enjoy wrestling. So I get sad when I think about him, and then that has a detrimental. And I point over there because I've got a picture of him. But that then has an impact on absolutely everything else. So I do feel overwhelmingly sad. Of course I do. So the options anyway are definitely agree, slightly disagree, and definitely disagree. So I'm going to definitely agree because I do. It's just normal. Question two. When I think of the future, I feel hopeless. Now that's weird because I was actually thinking of the future not that long ago. And I was thinking, how on earth am I supposed to still do my job with the pension age continuing to rise? I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to be 306 before I'm allowed to retire. And if I die earlier, then people who knew me are going to have to pay into the system because I couldn't pay me contributions. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I do wonder how I'm going to do my job at 70 years old. That's just not humanly possible because there's a lot of physical elements to it, which you don't see 70-year-olds doing, to be honest. So I do wonder what I'll be doing. I just hope I've paid my mortgage off before I'm 70 and I'll be mixing paint in a DIY store or something, just for the. So I've got some money coming in to cover me bills, but I don't have to do what I'm doing. So yeah, I do. I do feel a bit hopeless because I don't know what I'm going to do. I do live in the moment more than I plan for the future because I know I'm here today. I don't know if I'm going to be here in 30 years. You know what I mean? So I don't put too much emphasis on that. I'll deal with that when I get there because I'll be very surprised if I get there. Um, so I'll slightly agree because I do feel a bit hopeless because I've got no idea what I'm going to do and I can't retrain into anything else. I'm too daft. So that was slightly agree. Question 3, I feel like a complete failure. No. So if that was a good few years, let's say we're talking to Paul 10 years ago, he'd say yes. He would absolutely agree with you because he was doing everything for everyone else, wanting to make sure everyone was all right, wanted to make sure everyone had a smile on their face, wanted to make sure that someone could better themselves, all to the detriment of me. And when I realized everyone around me was prospering and I was failing and they were relaxed and I wasn't, I kind of changed it up a bit and I made sure I looked after me first. And I basically gave myself some self worth. I gave myself the worth I was giving other people. Um, and I started doing all right when I focused on me, and the people I helped got bothered because I wasn't helping them anymore, which is obviously very wrong. So, yes, no, I don't. I definitely disagree. Question 4, I get a lot of satisfaction or joy from doing things. I don't know. I mean, I don't in work. Work is just work. I just know how to do it, and I don't want people to die in fires. So I always make sure I'm doing that for the right reasons, but that doesn't spark joy. I enjoy my hobbies, but then at the same time, I do my hobbies because I'm just used to doing them now, and I don't really know how to get into another hobby. Kind of stuck in my ways, but I like my ways. So I slightly agree because I don't get annoyed doing my hobbies. I obviously do them because I enjoy them a bit. So I slightly agree. Question 5. I feel guilty about something most of the time. No, I wouldn't say I do. I feel guilty. When you go to bed and you're lying there and you're going, right, come on, brain, turn off, let's go to sleep. And your brain's like, what? No, I want to think of everything ever. That's when I feel guilty because my mind doesn't think of the times where I did good things. It thinks of all the times where something bad happened or it was negative and it was usually my fault. So I feel guilty then. And then it stops me sleeping. Uh, I guess I'm going to have to slightly disagree because that's not most of the time, is it? Question 6. I feel like I'm being punished. No, I don't. Um, I haven't done anything wrong. And the way I try and justify that is I look at the state of the world, I look at all the crazy things that are happening, I look at people who might even be close to me and who are doing very selfish things, and I'm not. People don't indicate when they're driving a death machine, and I think, who do you think you are that you don't have to indicate? um, but no, I don't feel like I'm being punished because I take a lot of responsibility for what I do in this world, and it's up to me to make sure that I control what is controllable to the best of my abilities. So I'm going to definitely disagree, but I did feel like I was being punished when my best friend was taken from me because he was the only real, like, genuine friend, who was around. And I didn't understand why, when I'm autistic and, it's really hard to make friends, it's hard to want friends. And then I finally find a human being who can put up with me, absolutely understands me, and then he gets taken away. I just didn't understand that, and I felt like I was being punished, but it's obviously not about me. So I'll definitely disagree. Question 7. I feel disappointed, even disgusted with myself. Definitely disagree. Like I said, the self love, the self interest, the self worth, that's there now. 10 years ago, I would have been a different person. Question 8. The bad things in my life aren't my fault. That goes back to what I just said. If it is controllable, I have control of it, then I have to control it because who else is going to do it? It's my responsibility to look after the things that I'm in control of. You do hear a lot of it where people are like, oh, yeah, my brother's an idiot, but oh, how do you escape that? Well, don't see your brother. But I know things aren't as black and white for people, but when it's controllable, you have to control it because you can't blame anyone else for the problems that are yours. That are yours. Just like when you say, I'm going to stop smoking, and then you have another cigarette and you're like, oh, it was because I had a really busy day at work. Nope. You did that. Take responsibility. So the bad things in my life aren't my fault. I mean, I'm overweight. I kind of wish I wasn't, and that is my fault. I can't blame McDonald's for existing. I've got to blame me for turning the steering wheel into the forecourt. The bad things in my life aren't my fault. Definitely disagree. They are my fault. And it's important you take ownership, isn't it? You've got to take ownership of the things you are in control of to fix. Otherwise, you'll blame everybody else, but nothing ever gets better. And why do you think that is? Question 9. I am often on the brink of tears or cry. Definitely disagree. I know how it feels, though. I have been there. I do know what that feels like, where you just feel anything can set you off and trigger you. I do know that feeling, but not anymore. Question 10. I feel irritated and annoyed by things in my life. Again, it comes down to control, doesn't it? Like, I'm very irritated and annoyed that, like, for example, obviously everything that's going on in Afghanistan is horrific. No one wants the Taliban in charge unless you've got a mental illness. But, like the Prime Minister in England went, we're gonna let 20,000 people come over from Afghanistan. And my only thought was, oh great, I'm just gonna push my pension age up again then. Because, and I know that's a bad way to think, and I didn't mean it in that context of where I just see people coming in and it makes things harder for me. But it's just another thing that makes it harder for me. A law abiding citizen who comes from this country and grafts his backside off, and I get zero benefit. I get zero claim to anything. I don't get a reprieve on anything. I'm part of this system who provides to the country so they can make decisions out of my control. So things like that really wind me up. Do these people need salvation? Most definitely from these nut jobs. But it doesn't give, if they went, it's not going to affect anything. It's not going to affect your payments. You have to pay more, which I will. You're not going to have, you have to add an extra year to your pension age, which I will. If things like that stayed the same, then it'd be fine because there's clearly enough room for things like that. But when I get affected, there clearly isn't enough room for something like that in a financial budget. So why should I keep suffering over decisions millionaires make who won't ever feel a pinch of it? So I get irritated and annoyed by things like that. But what I do to control that is I don't watch, read, or listen to the news because every time I do, I come away feeling much more disgruntled about the state of this world and the fact that every single part that's wrong is down to humans. But yet, apparently, we're so fantastic and it's not our fault. And see, I'm already getting irritated and annoyed. So the question is, I feel irritated and annoyed by things in my life. Well, again, I take control of what I can if it's controllable and try and make it the best. As we all should, because we all want to sleep at night, and I have trouble with that as well. So I'll say I slightly disagree because obviously I've just give you a good example there of something that annoys me, and that's my life, and it annoys me. So I'll slightly agree. Question 11. I am very interested in other people's lives and like to listen to them. Definitely disagree. I am so uninterested, and it's not because I think I'm doing it right. It's just when I hear somebody talk, I find it much easier to talk to autistic people or hear about the life of autistic people because they're telling you things and that's it. There's 9 times out of 10, there isn't an underlying motive. There isn't something driving it where they're going to get gain in something else. Whereas talking to a lot of other people, they'll be telling you a story of something. It's like when you give money or you buy a coffee for a homeless person. I don't film it because I'm not after any praise or glory for that. Just walk past a homeless person, say, all right, mate, I'm getting a coffee. Do you want one? And they go, oh, yeah, please. And they tell you your order and you come back, you give it to them and say, all right, and off you pop. But I don't need to film that because I'm not after credit for that. So these people who do that and they'll be like, oh, yeah, I gave money this week to a homeless person. And you're like, all right. I'm like, yeah, I filmed it. I put it on. You're like, right, okay, there you go. It wasn't about doing something because you're you're better with finances, so you can offer some finance. You can spread the wealth. You were doing it because you want people to press a like button. So when people talk to me, I just always look for the motive of why they've done what they've done. So it makes it very uninteresting to talk to people, unless people are just being genuine and you find no motive, and then I'm more inclined to hear their story. But anyway, so I definitely disagree. Question 12. I find it easy to make decisions, big and small. Uh, uh, yeah. I'm going to slightly agree because I have to make big decisions in work all the time. And I obviously have to make them in my life as well. But the amount of time it takes to make a decision, to make sure I've considered every single avenue, every nook and cranny. Is it good for now? Is it future proofed as well? Does it upset anyone? Will it be detrimental to me or anybody around me? It takes such a long time to make the decision, but I find it easy. It's just the time. So dealing with other people who go, "Come on, Paul, speed up." I don't find that bit easy. So I'm just going to slightly agree to question 12. I think I am unattractive or ugly. Have you seen me? I'm stunning. What are you on about? Everybody loves a fat guy with a bald head and a beard. Uh, I don't think either. I don't go around pouting for selfies or anything like that. Because selfies look like you're just sucking invisible spaghetti, so I've never understood it. Um, I think I am unattractive. No, I don't put any emphasis on looks. I'm very uninterested. I like I like imperfections. I'm much more drawn to them. Like you give me one of them people who's orange with clown eyebrows, lighthouse teeth, all that. I'm not, and super straight. I'm not. That does nothing for me. But someone who looks more real, they might have a snaggle tooth going on or something. It's just like, oh, they're all right. I'm gonna. I don't find myself attractive, but I also don't go around covering all the mirrors in the house. So I'll just slightly disagree. Question 14. I find it really hard to do anything, especially work. Yeah, of course I do. Uh, to try and do work is just such a chore. Because, if I won the lottery today, tomorrow, whenever it's on, I wouldn't even remember that I had to contact work to say, by the way, I'm never coming back again. I work because I have to work. I work because I have to pay a mortgage. I have to work, to earn money for food. So I only do it because I have to, and I just try to find the career with least resistance in what I can do. Um, yeah, definitely agree. I really do not like to work, and I find it very hard to do it. Getting out of bed, turning that computer on, getting in, actually being on site to do the day job. I've even got to the point now where it's like, where do we even start? Um, Question 15. My sleep patterns have been really disrupted. Yeah, definitely agree. I don't have sleep patterns. I can't sleep. And when I get to sleep, if I wake up and go to the bathroom, that's it. I'm awake. So I've got rubbish sleep. So definitely agree. I am so tired. Question 16. I am so tired. I don't have the energy to do anything. All the time. Here's a good example. Yes, I've needed to cut my toenails for about 2 weeks, and I finally did it yesterday because I got them out the cupboard. I sat down and I kept them on the side because I thought at some point I'm going to stick my foot up, and when my foot's up, I'll cut the nails. Because I just, to actually go and get them, to go and take the time to do it, it's just like, oh, what a chore that is. I'm not doing that. Because again, I'm tired, I'm achy, I've not slept properly, I haven't got the energy. Like rain gives me energy, so I actually went for a jog. Like last week it rained and I just threw the gear on that I go running in and look ridiculous. And I just went straight out in the rain, and the more I ran, the more I came around. But if it's not raining, I'm not running. So yeah, I'll definitely agree. I never have the energy to do anything. Question 17. My appetite has changed a lot. Well, I'm going to say that I slightly agreed to that because my autism's got a bit worse and cooking now is ruled out. I just can't deal with cooking at the minute. Um, and my appetite has changed as well, where there were some things I could eat and now I can't. Or if I had it cut a certain way, I've now got to cut it another way because it's just I've lost all interest in food. I'll be honest. So yeah, my appetite has changed a lot. So I'll definitely agree. I have lost a lot of weight. No, but I have lost weight. I've tried to be a bit more conscious, but I just haven't really had much of an interest in food. So I'm going to guess that's why I've lost a bit of weight. So I've not lost a lot. I've lost weight though. So I'll just slightly agree and not definitely agree. Question 19. I am very concerned, even preoccupied with my physical health. Yes, absolutely yes. Oh, 100%. Um, yeah, absolutely. All I think of, every single ailment, every hiccup, every problem. Like right now, I've got a bit of a problem with my stomach. I've got like my throat's a bit sore near my Adam's apple. So I think I've got throat cancer. You know what I mean? It could just be viral. It could be the fact that I never shut up. It could be the fact I've been singing a lot because I've been playing my guitar a lot. More normal things, but in the back of my mind, it goes, mm-mm, it's the cancer. So yeah, I'm constantly thinking about my health, so I'll definitely agree to that. Question 20. I am not interested in sexual relations at all. Uh, I'm gonna have to slightly agree to that because we've done it. I'm not gonna, I wouldn't sell my house for it again. You know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is. And I'm an old guy. It takes me longer to get undressed these days. Um, I've been there, I've done it. It's all right, but I'd rather have a cup of tea and get into some comfy pajamas these days. I'm going to slightly agree because I'm not really highly driven that way anyway. Last question, question 21. I have thought about ending my life. Now, no, I haven't. I couldn't and wouldn't do that. Um, and I wrote a song about male mental health and suicide from it. People like Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington. I just Gary Speed, who was a footballer in England and Wales. Um, no, it's no, no, no. No matter how low I've been, I know that's not the answer. Because I've always been someone who thinks of everyone else before me. I couldn't have my final thought being racked with guilt of how I've made other people feel. Um, but I have lost someone I knew through suicide, um, which wasn't pleasant because they were phoning me every single day, and I wasn't sleeping, and I was talking to them. I was trying to convince them to come and work away when I was going back to working away, and one day I just wasn't on the other end of the phone, and I never heard from them again. Um, so that wasn't a nice feeling. Still isn't. There was a guy I was in a band with who played the drums, and he split up from a girl, and he was about to kill himself, and I talked him out of that. And there's another person I know who has very bad mental health, and this is something they've discussed as well. And knowing how it makes me feel on the other end of it, as someone who obviously cares about them, it's a horrible feeling knowing that you're quite helpless in a way to help them because it's all based off their mental health, and I'm no doctor. But knowing how it feels to be on the other end for people who want to do that, I couldn't let other people feel like that. And it's not something that I'll ever, life is a gift, and I'm fortunate to live in England, even though it's depressing and not nice. And everything's always against you. But, there are worse places to be, there are worse ways to live. You've got to control what you're in control of and make the best of things. And you've got to be humble enough to realize just, what we should be grateful for. So, no, I definitely disagree. I have not thought about ending my life. And that's all of them. So here's the results. So the results indicate that you are very likely to be suffering from depression. So the score is little to none, is 0 to 10. Mild is 11 to 16. Moderate is 17 to 20. High is 21 to 30. And then high to severe is 31 to 63. And I got 36. So I'm just getting into the high to severe. It just says what you should do now. Symptoms you report can be very serious. Often sufferers with clinical depression struggle to lead normal lives. It's very common for people with depression to feel hopeless. It's also common for people with depression to have another mental health condition like anxiety. Well, I did an anxiety one, didn't I? And I got 40 out of 40 on that. The symptoms you report are also common in conditions like bipolar. So I will do a bipolar test now to see where that takes me. But I've ended up in the high category in all the ones I've done so far. So, if people were looking to date, I wouldn't say date me. I've clearly got one of a few problems here, haven't I? Anyway, so that's it. So I've got 36 out of 63. And they're all the answers. So there you go. Do it yourself. Let me know your score. Hopefully, it's more in the low end than the high end after the back of some of them questions. And I really hope none of you press the final answer as that you have thought of ending your own life, because the thought of that is just not a pleasant one. But anyway, that's another test in the bag. So thanks for your requests. Keep them coming. The email address is oldandautistic@gmail.com. Let me know a request. Let me know why you want that request done and try and give an example if possible. And I will endeavour, might take me a few years, but that's the plan, to get through them. And we'll just keep rolling with it, won't we? But until next time, thanks for watching and keep smiling.